everybody, welcome back to day 24 of the art unit. So, today we were supposed to have a quiz on the art unit. It was supposed to be quiz number 1. But the thing I set up the quiz in is called Canvas. Now, I have a school account, and then I also set up a personal account to make this quiz. Only thing is, I cannot publish this course. It says like, oh, check your email, get a link to verify, blah, blah, blah. I check my email, there's no link. So I emailed about that, like an hour ago or 2 hours ago, or not that too long, maybe an hour. And they haven't gotten back to me yet. If I don't hear back from them tomorrow by like 1 or 2, then we will just do a quiz via PowerPoint because we have to move along here. So I will let you guys keep you guys updated on that. Okay. The quiz is gonna cover what we've been doing in the book this unit. Okay. It's gonna ask you like, how did we draw, not a question in the quiz by the way, but how did we draw the shirt? Okay. And there's choices, it's like 4 choices I believe, on how you drew that thing. There's also, it's gonna ask you what's the definition of this, what's the definition of that. There's also one open-ended question with a question and then you type the answer. Okay. It's a 10-question quiz, so it's really, really short. Correct answers will be hidden after you take it for a while until I grade it. So for those who are participating in the art unit, take the quiz. You don't get to see your correct answers quite yet because there's an open-ended question. So I have to go back in and grade all those quizzes that the participants did. And if you don't do it, that's fine. If nobody does it, that's fine. But just know I'll have the correct answers to you guys in like a few hours. I will also go over the correct answers in the next video. All right, so we're gonna cover days 25 and 26. So, because today was supposed to be the quiz. So basically what you need is your book and you also need a paper. And I will go over that from the document camera in a second. So we're going to go over 25 and 26 today. Now, I'm not too sure what day 26 will be because we are going to be painting day 27. So like, I don't know, like, what we're going to be doing day 26. Maybe right now on the plan, I have, like, maybe a short film we can watch. Or more practice on background, maybe. Or I will just not do that day. Is an option. So I might probably be too tired to do that day or too busy. So if I don't post anything, my apologies for that. That can also be an off day for me. Or it can be a more practice day for our final project. It can also be where we watch a film day. So I'm not too sure quite yet what that day will be. So stay tuned and let's dive in to what we set our paper as. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a second to set up your paper. So first, here, you set up your heading. So you're going to need, oh yeah, you also will need some markers today. So I have plenty of markers in here. Let's go ahead and grab some markers. Day 27, you'll need a paint palette, which we labeled our paint palette. So If you don't have one, buy one because you're going to need it if you're participating in this video. You will also need some paintbrushes, and I have some in all different sizes. I will probably be using, you'll probably be see me using this one for background. This is the big one. And then the medium-sized one. Probably most likely not any of the purple ones that I have in here. Just because I'm not too sure why. Because the blue ones are actually from my art class, so they're more like official. All right, so that's the materials you'll need for day 27. Which is Friday. And then on the back of your paper, once you've written drawing background, write painting background. And this will be part of your notes. So these notes will also be turned in at the end of the unit, probably after the test. So probably May 2nd. Or not May 2nd, April 2nd. So make sure you have these notes right here, these notes right here, and then these notes right here. Don't worry about this thing I put, short practice. That was what we were going to do today, but instead I came up with this, so ignore that. Don't worry, this is not part of your notes. It's not for credits. Alrighty. And then let me show you guys what you're going to write and give you guys all a second to do that. And then I'll tell you guys what we're doing today. So, you're going to split your paper into 4 quadrants. So I know mine are not perfectly split. I was going more of a line down the middle, but that's fine. First quadrant is going to be page 26 and the background that we're doing, happy. Second quadrant is going to be page 33 and the background that we're doing, sad. Third quadrant is going to be page 38. I forgot to put it right there. Despair/fear. Despair means hopeless. Okay? They're out of hope, they're out of luck, they're hopeless, they have nothing left. /fear. So we'll get to that in a second. And then page 140, internal thoughts. Just to give you guys a second to set that up. And what we're doing today is we're going to be looking at 4 different backgrounds, which are these right here. We're not going to be drawing the whole scene, right? Because that would be too much. We're going to be drawing the color that it insists, or it not insists, but it includes. And then some context of what it is. That's it. Nothing too hard. We're not going to draw any people today, if that's what you're worried about. I'm not going to make it that hard, because, drawing people would take some detail. So if we want to draw people, do some stick figures. I'm fine with that. But I'll show you more when we get into this. Then for day 27, which is Friday, notice that's not split into 4 quadrants, because I don't think we're going to be splitting it. We're going to be painting a full background, and this is going to be our rough draft for our project. So I still need it to get that set up. So in a second, when you're ready, go ahead and grab your book. and flip to page 26. Now, what is this background showing? Okay, in this background, we're going to be dissecting it, kind of going over where is the background, where is the midground, and where is the foreground. So if you don't have your notes that we took, go ahead and grab those now. They should look like this with their definitions of it. And it will tell you what it means by background, foreground, and midground. But you should know, and you need to know that for our quiz. So, oh yeah, for the quiz, if they don't reply to me by tomorrow, which I highly doubt, it said the ticket went through, so maybe it takes time. So, if they don't reply to me by my deadline tomorrow, because we need to get the quiz in, then we'll just do it through a PowerPoint, and you'll do it on a blank piece of paper. So, not to worry, or we can also do it on day 26. But I might be busy watching certain college basketball. So I want to get the quiz out of the way. So hopefully they reply to me tomorrow. If not, we'll see about day 26. I'll keep you guys updated in the community posts. All right, so let's start dissecting this. Let's start with foreground. What's depicted closest to the reader? As we can see here, the text is second rumor. The Franks took off for a long vacation in the countryside. So you can obviously see this is a countryside. And we can notice Edith Oto on one bike and then Anne Margaret on another bike. They right here would be the foreground. The midground, subjects depicted in the middle of the scene in front of a background / the setting. So, this one's a little difficult. I would say in the middle of the scene would be the houses right there, which there are little houses right there. I would say those are in the middle of the scene, or the grass, maybe. And then the background, obviously, the objects that are further away from the reader, usually conveying setting / contextual details. That would be the sky and the clouds. And then if you count the wind turbine here as midground, go for it. So what we're going to draw here is we're not going to draw the people. We're going to draw a countryside for this. Now, you can use your book as a reference if you need. And basically, let's start off with drawing some graphs. So we're going to draw some nice graphs here. And if you want to label this as our midground, you can. or the foreground. If you want to label this, go ahead. You do not have to for this. It's actually a better label. All you need to know for this is just know where your background foreground and that are. That's it. You don't need a label. By the way, there is really no modification for this. So if you're doing it significantly more, this is kind of hard. You can do happy and one of these because there is sad, but technically all three of these are sad. So you can do happy, sad, and then one of these. So you can do three of them, or half. That's fine. Okay. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and draw the houses, which I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of house. And then after, let's draw the laser. So I'm just gonna do a grape house right here with our red roofs. Nothing too detailed for today. And then try to keep up with me the best you can. I'm gonna go a little bit fast here today. And then we have the wind turbine, right? Nothing too detailed for this wind turbine. Think of a wind turbine as a triangle stand, and I actually have a paper wind turbine representation. Think of a wind turbine as this kind of triangle base here at the bottom. There's four triangles on a teat to a bottom of a paper square base. Is my favorite. Paper square base. And that's how this is going to get attached. And then the two turbines here are attached. They're on top of the four triangle base here. So that's the base that helps them get connected. So think of a wind turbine like that. And kind of picture how you would draw a wind turbine. And I apologize for this long video. This is going to be probably like a 40-minute video as yesterday. Because we were talking about background and I am really good at that, so I apologize for this long video. And try to have everything lined up. All right. And by the way, you need to keep this paper. It's part of your notes. Alrighty, when you're ready, go ahead and move on to the wind turbine. And it does not have to be very detailed. Just as long as you can tell it's a wind turbine. And then whenever you're ready, we're gonna do the blue sky. I don't have a light blue here, so I'm just gonna go. And whenever you're ready, we're gonna move on to clouds. You can't really see the clouds, but I'll just put 3 clouds because we gotta move on. All right. Why do you guys think this is labeled as happy? As a happy back? Why not like amazing? Even when there's no yellow in the background. I mean the clothing, but the clothing does not tribute to the background whatsoever. It's because there's not really much happening in this background. It's kind of a chill background, so I label it as happy. Feel free to disagree, but like there's not much happening in this background. They're all on a bike ride. They're having fun. So it's a happy background. All right, next background. Let's go ahead and flip to page 33. And right away, you'll notice that this is a much darker background. Now, you'll notice that this background, it's not fully gray, right? But I was thinking to myself while selecting this, all backgrounds don't start off as gray, right? They're blue, and then they start to phase into this gray. So that's why I picked this background. So it says, I don't care if mother dies, and then they sing in this language. And we can see some purple in it. I'm not too sure what the purple represents, but it's sadness. And gray. And we can see some clouds. And I'm not too sure if this is rain or not, but this looks like a rain shadow. And we can see dying trees. Okay. So right here, let's draw grass, some graves, some dying trees, and a dark cloud. Let's go ahead and take 1 minute to do that. And don't worry about matching the color of the grass. It's fine. So this will represent the dirt here at some of the graves. And you can see more graves than dirt. So but that's for Edith. Let me do like if possible here. So we can finish before the 40-minute mark. All right. Whenever you're finished, go ahead and flip to page 38. You can pause the video if you're done. But again, like I said, keep up with me. Now, page 38, you will notice that it gets a lot darker because during the Holocaust, right, it wasn't all happy, right? Maybe there is in the beginning where we see kind of what Anne and her family did in their lives. Like here, um, they lived their lives happily in that house, right? And had a birthday party in the beginning of the book. And they're like happily. We can see Anne and Margaret, I believe, skiing, having a good time. Until we see some transitions here, first thing we notice is the burning of synagogues, which is where Jewish people go to pray and stuff. It's like their church. And then the burning of books that were about Jewish culture or written by Jews. And then we see some Jews fleeing. So, and then we see Jews getting kicked out of the water. So you get the point. Trying to see when the Nazis got into power. That was kind of like the fourth major transition or like major issue there. But my point is that this book here, there's not much happiness to really cover. Sure, there's happiness at the beginning and the end when they get liberated, but of course, the liberation is not covered in this book. If you want to see like the liberation and also more into and in the Holocaust, I definitely still recommend reading this graphic novel adaptation. Perfect for those who don't understand just reading words and need pictures. These have pictures, these have dialogue. But also watch the movie, I believe it's called Anne Frank. If you look it up on Netflix, you will find a great movie there. Schindler's List. It's a great movie. It's a 3-hour movie though. But it covers basically it's all black and white except for a little girl's red dress. And that's almost what I did my unit on. Except that might have been like a little bit too graphic and also I couldn't be able to show the film on here. I wish I could, because I like films. But also like it wouldn't be efficient planning. But It's all black and gray. The red dress is symbolism, and it's meant, and if I'm wrong here, comment down below. It's meant to symbolize innocence, right? Because it's meant to symbolize the Jews' blood, all the innocent Jews being killed. So it's meant to symbolize innocence. All these innocent people, no matter if they're Jews, they're still innocent. They weren't meant to be killed this way. So it kind of represents innocency here. And it basically goes through people's lives. It starts off normal first, maybe. Then it starts off with like, well, going on a train. And then there's Schindler, which he basically works for the Nazis, basically. So, he stops the train for someone, and then he kills him to him because he helps basically raise money for them. So it's really cool. There is blood in it. It's really violent, like graphic. People get shot. So it is very graphic, but a good movie. It's a 3-hour movie, so it's very like long. And at the end, it covers them getting liberated, and basically Schindler takes them or like to somewhere to like his working place. But he basically his whole goal was Oscar Schindler. His whole goal was to help Jews out, to basically, liberate them. So great movie. Very sad, but so now flip to page 38, and you'll see it gets a lot sadder from here. And if I can try to tomorrow after the quiz, I'll pull up some images of Schindler's List. But the film is too graphic to show on here, so go watch it yourself. The film is not free, so you do have to purchase it, by the way. But it's worth it. So, 38 here. I'm gonna first read you guys the text that it says above. Later, she met someone who managed to escape from a concentration camp. When Meep asked about her neighbor, the man said she'd probably been transported to Western Bork in a catapult. So on the top here it says, today Meep told us some terrible news from the real world. She saw her Jewish neighbor taken away by the Gestapo, and she could not do nothing to help her. Or yeah, she could do nothing to help her. So this bottom image right here is what we're focusing on. Is inside the cattle car, right? And if you watch Schindler's List, they get stuffed into this cattle car, and I believe these windows get shut. So they're trapped in complete darkness. I could be wrong. There might have been windows in the cattle car, but mostly darkness. So what the darkness represents here, and I did some research, despair/fear. Why despair though? Why do you guys think despair? Could it be because they're hopeless? They're out of hope at this point? It could be. Why do you guys think fear? Why could black here represent fear? Let me give you guys a second to think about that. Why does this represent fear? Alrighty. Why do you guys think this could represent fear? In a way. In a way, it could represent fear, but the main color for fear, I believe, is black, I believe. So in a way, it can represent fear, but why? Why though? As we take a look at people's face expressions here, We can see a baby crying, a mother hugging her. You can see a couple here, some couples here, crying, basically, because they all know that they're going to be taken somewhere to be killed. And where they do get taken, once they're grabbed out of their homes to these concentration camps where they were later killed, or they were kept in these ghettos. I believe that's what they were called. Everyone had to gather around there, and then concentration camps were after. And that was when they were killed. Remember with the gas that I mentioned yesterday? Nazi soldiers would tell the Jews that, oh, you're going to take a shower, right? So they strip everyone naked and they put them in that room. Dark, no light, darkness, pitch dark. They turn the water on, except it's not water, it's gas that can turn off your circulation system and kill you. And then they later burn you alive. Now, before we do this background here, I know this is a lot of talking. It's going to be a long video, but so be it. It's history. Now, I know it doesn't show this in the book, right? But it does in Schindler's List, so I do want to cover it here. And I'm actually ashamed that it doesn't show it in this book. Because yes, a lot of their life was focused here in this book in the annex. But we don't get a lot of their outside the annex once they've been caught. What they've been doing when they got caught. Like, what has the concentration camps been like? What has the ghettos been like? So I have a question for y'all, because this they covered in the Anne Frank film on Netflix. They all got there, and I also watched this ninth grade language arts. It was like we were reading the book called Night, and it also covered this. I believe it was like a video we watched. Girls and boys, I believe, all got their hair shaved off. Now, why? Why? For one reason, from the video we watched in ninth grade, I watched, it was shaven to basically do an experiment, right? That was the reason why in that video. But there's a deeper meaning why they shaved all of their heads off. Can we come up with that reason why? Because I already know there's a deeper meaning to that. That video is kind of inaccurate, and I could already tell it's inaccuracies there. Why was it? Why was their hair shaven off? There's a deeper meaning here, except for using it for an experiment. Now, why was in the Holocaust Museum, they did subject Jews to experiments, like a cold water experiment, high air pressure experiment, and a lot of them did not survive those experiments. So those were lots of doctors that basically did experiments on them. But there's a deeper reason why their heads were shaved off. So comment down below. Now, hair here basically represents identity. And the whole goal of this Nazi organization is to dehumanize all the Jewish people. Now, if you did not have blonde hair or blue eyes, you were killed. It does not matter if you had brown hair or like brown eyes. If you weren't Jewish, they don't care. Hitler doesn't care. Hitler wants the perfect race, right? He his mind, he thought the perfect race was blonde hair, blue eyes. So if you did not have any of those characteristics, even if you weren't Jewish or not, you were killed. You were found. Even if he did, you were found, brought to these concentration camps, killed, or had to work to death. So back to their whole goal of dehumanizing people. Part of that process was shaving off all their hair, because hair is kind of a part of an identity. So by shaving all that off, is getting rid of their identity and dehumanizing. They're basically being like, how do I put this? They're basically being recognized, or recognized as treated like animals. Okay. By dehumanizing them, they're no longer somebody. They're no longer a person. They're a nobody. That's the whole Nazi's goal. Why? We're perfect race. I don't know why Hitler's thought was, oh, the perfect race was, blonde hair, blue eyes, this, that, da, 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 da. I'm not going to do the salute, but yeah, kill the Jews. If you're not, or if you have anything but blonde hair, blue eyes, you're not Jewish, you're killed. Let's dehumanize all the Jews. Yeah, absolutely terrible. So we're gonna get in the background. Now we're just gonna do a laughing break of inside the cattle car. So we're just gonna do. I don't know how many wheels I had, so I'm just gonna guess. And we're gonna draw some windows in, of course. And then the rest of the vehicle is dark. All right, I'm not gonna put the whole thing into. So now, lastly, flip to page 140. And now this is the background that I want to pay attention to, because this is Anne's air thought here. Now, you'll notice there's not a lot of light, except for when she takes off the window curtain, you'll see some light. So it's dark, and that's what we'll do for the background to wrap it up here. It's probably at the 40-minute mark, so I apologize for that, for a long video. Most of you guys won't want to hear me yap about history, but here we are, so feel free to skip any parts you don't want to watch. I'm not going to read the dialogue here, but I'm going to basically just go through it right here. Okay? And all this is basically Anne's diary, Anne's thoughts right here. Now, why do you think I chose to draw this specific background? Now, black here, it sort of represents, and I did some research on this, it said like isolation. because she's kind of trapped in the annex here behind these curtains so they don't get caught. So think of an emotion for that. Now, if you read the text might help a lot to figure out an emotion here. You can kind of see Anne is sad here. Her face is drooping. She's not in a good mood. So, sad, fear, because black is the main color for fear, and a lot of upset emotions. Now, one emotion word that I would use here is not angry, but like yeah, probably angry that this is all happening. So she probably has some mix of sad and anger inside of it. So to wrap this up, we're gonna do some white light, and then the rest of that being covered by the black curtain. So when you're ready, go ahead and get some white going, which we're gonna do that by gray. And then the rest of that being covered by the curtain. So we're gonna or you don't know, set the box. All right. Not all of it is colored in, but whatever. We're just gonna pretend that it is. That's going to wrap it up for today. You guys know it's separate to your drawing to obviously fast forward. That's going to wrap it up for today. Remember the 27th will be painting full background. That'll be our rough sketch. So keep this, and I recommend your art bag because these are notes. And actually, I can highly recommend labeling them as notes. 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 That's going to wrap it up for today. So, that was a lot of history and art, there. So tomorrow, quiz. I think you have enough study time and start time to start the quiz tomorrow. Um, and then start putting some notes away. And then the 26th, I'm not too sure what we have planned for that day. Could be more practice on some background or a break day, but I'm not too sure. In my meetings, I try to not have break days and finish the meeting. So, if I don't do anything, that's you guys' free day to kind of study for the big test. Now, the test, I don't know how many questions the test will be. Quiz number one is 10 questions, very short, so tests are longer. And the reason I have the quizzes and the tests and art with is to basically test your knowledge. So and don't worry about the grade thing. It is for a grade, but it's not like well, grade, how well you did in my unit. That's all. So make sure to subscribe and like the video, turn on notifications so you don't miss another video from me. Alrighty, I will if Canvas replies, I will see you guys tomorrow. If not, I will just do the quiz via PowerPoint and I'll just paste all the questions there. And I don't know how the open-ended question will work, probably in the comments below. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with plans and I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.